Welcome in to Tiny Musings with T. I am T from Tiny Divinations, here with part 2 of our July collective reading. In part 2, we'll talk about our mini focuses for the month, our career and finance mini focus. We'll go over our love and relationship mini focuses, and our self growth and spirituality. We'll talk about the best working for the month, and we'll talk about the fairy tale that most relates to the themes of our month. So get comfortable and let's get into part 2. Hey y'all, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for part 2. We are going to break down the rest of our month, get into our mini focuses for the month. We'll get into our fairy tales for the month that are related to our energy cards that we had in part 1. We'll talk about the best working for the month for my practitioners. So get comfortable. Let's get into some things. I'm hoping you are having a good month. I know it has been a little trying. We talked about what was going to be in part 1. If you haven't listened to part 1, we talked about the energy of the month. We talked about some of the themes of the month, some of the things that are going to happen that we get in our charms. So definitely listen to that episode. You can go listen to that one and then listen to this one, or listen to this one and listen to that one. Whichever order you choose, it doesn't matter as long as you listen. Also, I'm having a summer reading sale. My 75-minute live reading is on sale right now. So if you are thinking about booking a reading, if you are thinking about it, if you'd like to, if you know someone that would like to, definitely book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. When you put the reading in your cart, you will see the discount. I would love to read with y'all. We also have our Tiny Shuffled playlist. When I do the readings for every month, I shuffle songs in the background. The songs that play are all a part of our shuffled playlist for the month. They give the energy for the month. You can use them for shufflemancy. You can use them to get the energy of the month. You can use it for some new music. You can find those playlists on Apple Music and on Spotify. Those are also linked in the show notes. And if you would like to see the pictures of the cards that we have for the mini focuses, the cards that we had for the energy of the month that relate to our fairy tales for this month, the working we have for the month, then you can click the show notes and click the image link in the show notes to see the gallery for all of the cards that we got for this month. So let's get into the rest of our reading. So starting with our mini focuses, we have our career and finance mini focus. The cards that we have for this focus for our month come from the Money Manifestation, a Wealth Oracle. The cards are freedom of time. The freedom to do whatever you want with your time is one of the ultimate benchmarks of an abundant life. You are the master of your schedule. We have the travel card. Embarking on a journey could be your path to wealth, as abundant opportunities await you in the world. We have unworthy. Do you genuinely believe in your worthiness to attain the abundance you desire? And host. Whether your space is physical or digital, you could find a lot of fulfillment in being a host. So before we get into each card, one of the things that I really love about this deck is that each of the cards has symbols on it. And there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 symbols. And the symbols have relations to things to do with our money, our mindset, things like that, how we manifest, blah, blah, blah. And so in terms of the cards that we got, the Freedom of Time card is a crown card. It's a crowning achievement. It's even better than a money jar, which we didn't get any of those in this poll. These represent freedom and self-mastery. Okay, so Freedom of Time is a crowning achievement representing freedom and self-mastery. We have the Travel card, which is a key. Keys symbolize mindset shifts that will unlock abundance and help you create your timeline of prosperity. Okay. We have unworthy, which is a lock, your subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs, unworthiness. And then we have host, which is a galaxy jar, your talents, gifts, and areas of unrealized potential. So I just wanted to go over the symbols that we got in this poll. Like I said before, if you want to see the cards that we have, you can click the show notes, and the images link is somewhere towards the middle. So, starting with freedom of time. For me, our focus this month in terms of freedom of time, for some people, has to do with not allowing yourself enough time off. You're not giving yourself time off. You're not relaxing. You don't know how to live. Like, you don't know how to live when you're not working. You don't know how to turn yourself off. For some people, they may be feeling like when you're not busy, you're not doing enough, or like if you are don't have something going, or you're constantly don't have your mind going, then you kind of feel lazy, or you feel like you should have been doing X, Y, or Z. And like I said, you just don't know how to embrace relaxing or ease or fun or things that are outside of your career or how you get money. There's this energy of, if I'm not busy or I'm not doing enough, then I don't deserve to have what I want. Or that's why it's not happening, or that's why it hasn't happened. It's just because I'm not doing enough. Even though I'm doing, I have to do more. And just there's part of that energy there. And being busy doesn't equal deserving. And it doesn't necessarily mean success, right? Especially if you're not feeding into yourself. You can't be successful in other areas of your life if you're not feeding the vessel with which you want to do that through. For others, your focus this month in terms of freedom of time feels like it's more about looking for something that allows you to have that. It's about how you want to have more flexibility in your job, in your career, in your position, in how you make money in your business, and how you want to expand. It's partially also about deserving and feeling like you deserve to have that flexibility and that relationship with freedom in your schedule, whether that's, like I said, within your career and what you do, within the position that you have, within a side hustle that you're doing, within a second job you're trying to get, within your own entrepreneurial activities. Like, you deserve to have a position that allows you to have both expansion and flexibility. Part of that flexibility or that expansion for you may look like more opportunities to travel. Part of what may help you to find positions, spaces, things that help you have more flexibility in time may be traveling. It may also look like being asked to, like I said, expand your horizons in terms of the search. Maybe you're looking for something, and part of the travel card and what is meant to be unlocked here is you opening up your search, widening your search. It may be about you expanding your horizons in the sense of looking for things that are in different areas than you live now, being willing to move and travel. Part of it may look like traveling somewhere and finding opportunities in that space. Maybe it was like a personal trip that you wind up finding business opportunities on, or it allows you to expand your mind in some way that helps you see ways that you can have more flexibility, you can expand more, you can have more travel opportunities within things that you want to do. So there's definitely something to that. And like I mentioned before, the travel card is a key card, and the keys are mindset shifts that will unlock abundance and help you create a timeline of ultimate prosperity. So, again, the keys card in the travel sense is about being able to take or create an opportunity, being open to having your mindset shift about being able to expand your horizons, or being able to travel, or being able to want to look further than you've been looking already. Part of what's blocking both your crowning achievements and the freedom of time card and your ability to expand with the key card that we have in travel is your unworthiness or feeling like you don't deserve. The unworthy card is a lock, and we have the lock, but we have a key, right? So we have the ability to unlock what is being blocked for us. The lock cards are your subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs. And so, like I said, part of what we need to do to be able to unlock that unworthiness, excuse me, to be able to unlock the travel opportunities, or to be able to unlock the ease and the freedom and the expansion of having your own flexibility in your schedule and time, is your unworthiness. Do you genuinely believe in your worthiness to attain the abundance you desire? That's the question on the card. With that, I'd ask, do you believe you are worthy of freedom? And we kind of, talked through that. And I asked that before with the freedom of time card. Are you confident in yourself to move to new spaces and places? So, all of these questions are questions that I would want to focus on this month with the unworthy card that we got, because there's something that definitely needs to be answered and acknowledged so that we can move through this block to get to the timeline shifts that we have in those first two cards. You may feel like you want expansion. You may feel like you want to travel. You may feel like you want flexibility and freedom in your time. And also, you may have fearful thoughts. You may feel like you don't work hard enough for it. You may unconsciously be, self sabotaging or redirecting the energy of the things that you really think that you desire, because unconsciously you may feel like you don't. There may be some little voice inside of you that tells you for some reason that you can't, or you don't, or it won't happen to you. And that is part of what we need to focus on this month, and really sit with those questions that I just asked to understand what is at the root of that. How can we shift that mindset? How can we let go of that? I was listening to a podcast the other day. I can't remember which podcast it was right now, but I'm going to look for it as I'm talking. The woman said part of what she does is when she has a negative thought, she starts to think of it as disgusting, like she repels it. And basically, that's using the law of repulsion, like the law of attraction. The opposite of that is the law of repulsion. And so she thinks, if she thinks of lack or something like that, she'd say, like, ugh, that's disgusting. Get that away from me. Like, I don't want that anywhere near me. And so that is kind of part of the mindset shift that we have to have. The podcast was actually called Cosmic Compass with Helena Woods. The episode was, give me a second, y'all. The episode was Seven Figure Astrologer Energy, What I Invest in My Astrology Business to Skyrocket. It was a really good episode. Even if you're not trying to be an astrologer, the first 20 minutes of that episode, she's just dropping gems of like how to shift your money mindset. And that is definitely something that we all need right now. I'll link that show in my show notes. But yeah, so this is definitely something that we're focused on this month with the unworthy card. We're sitting with our feelings of unworthiness or undeserving around our career, our finances, and our expansion. The last card that we have is host. Whether your space is physical or digital, you can find a lot of fulfillment in being a host. So, another thing that we are focusing on, or should focus on, should look into this month, to me, is working on how we can show up more. This can literally be talking about being a host, hosting your own thing, hosting an event, hosting a show, something like that. But it can also be about leadership. It can be about community. it could be about bringing people together. It could be about leading a project. It could be about taking the lead in your own change or transformation or want to do something different. It could look about, excuse me, it could look like taking care of others. It could look like I said, bringing people together or coming together for something specific. The host card is also a galaxy jar, and the galaxy jars are untapped potential. So, like I said, it could be that there is something that you should be doing more hosting with, you should be doing more front facing, you should be in a space where you're talking to more people or networking or being in a space of showing off your um, speaking skills or your talents in some way that you may not have thought to do before, you may have been scared to do, or something like that. So it's definitely something to look into or to consider if it's not something that you've considered before. Again, this is our mini focuses for our career and our finances. So it could be a way that you could make more money. It could be something that you could make a career out of that you're just not thinking about, or you're not, tapping into the way in which you should. So this month is definitely a time to play with that more. So these are the cards that we have for our career and finance mini focus. Let's move into love and relationships. So, moving into our next mini focuses, we have our love and relationship mini focus for July. The cards that we have come from the Sacred Symbol Oracle deck. We have jealousy, power, grounded, and earth. At the time when I was pulling these cards, the song that was playing was 2 a.m. by Big X The Plug. This song is on our Tiny Shuffled playlist. Like I said in the beginning, you can find these playlists on Apple Music, on Spotify, and the links to both playlists are in the show notes. So the song is literally about him lying and cheating and messing up his relationship and then going home and finding his significant other cheating. And I'm not going to get into the rest of the song, but that's basically the gist of the damn song. Okay. If you want to hear the song, again, it's on our playlist. But so with that playing while I was writing this, and these cards that we have, the jealousy and the power card first, we definitely may be dealing with sketchy people this month. We definitely may, especially because, again, this is our love and relationship mini focus. So we want to pay attention to the people we're dealing with. We want to pay attention to the people we're in relationship with, right? We want to be on the lookout or be mindful of people who are manipulative, people who are liars, narcissists. Like I said in part one, it may be a situation that seems too good to be true. The person may seem too good to be true. There may be like charming energy, or it may just feel like when you're around them, you just get enveloped into them, right? Or their energy or their personality may overpower yours in terms of like the type of person that they may be, or like the characteristics that they exude, right? So these are all things that kind of come up in the song and with these cards. Okay. There is also the energy of us maybe needing to kind of clear some of this energy from us, from around us, because we have the grounded and the earth energy. So it may be that we have some of this jealousy energy around us. There may be some energy of like um, us feeling weird power dynamics, or like us feeling weird, try to like keep up with the Jones type of energy. And so that may be something that we need to clear or get rid of this month in terms of our love and relationship. So that could look like actually like, talking this out, um, being mindful of this being a thing, bringing it up, removing these people from you, removing yourself from these situations, literally doing clearings or, workings that would clear this energy from around you, from people that are like this from around you, keep these people from your space, keep it from away from your relationships, things like that. Also, for some people, the jealousy card and the grounded card under it could be that you're able to like unearth some things or have some things become clear this month in your love life or your relationship. You could have some things come up or be like ungrounded. I'm thinking of like things being dug up, um, and that could be, something that you're able to get clear on, something that you understand that you didn't, understand before, or something that that you didn't know before. So that also came up to me with those two cards. Also, I meant unearthed, not ungrounded. I saw the grounded, I said ungrounded. I apologize, y'all, you know what I meant. But anyway, with the jealousy and the power card, it can also speak for some people for a need for us to focus on our own insecurities this month, especially as it relates to our love and our relationships. You may be projecting your fears, your feelings of undeserving or unworthiness, like we talked about in the career and finance section. You may be projecting your insecurities onto your relationship, onto your partner, onto your friends, onto your, platonic relationships. And it may be that you're doing it. It could also be that other people are doing it to you. But either way, what you're feeling is coming from a different place, right? It has nothing to do with these people or these relationships necessarily. It feels like it really is a projection of what you're feeling or what the other person is feeling if it's being projected onto you. Um, their need to really sit with their own insecurities, their feelings of not being enough or wanting to keep up with the Joneses or like, scrolling social media and feeling like somebody has something that they should have or that they'll never have or like, that's kind of the energy. And so there's a way in which there are some people that really need to, like we talked about in the career and finance part, really sit with the things that you're feeling and, you know, work through them so that you stop adding to issues in some cases or creating issues in some cases that aren't really issues for everybody. The power card comes in to speak to and validate your worthiness, focusing on what actually is, what's in front of you, what you actually have, right? That's part of the energy of the grounded and the earth cards. So, for example, if relationships that you're in or that you have make you question yourself, or you feel like there are ways that you're comparing what you have to what other people have, this is something that we need to be focused on right now, right? Because you are lovable exactly as you are. You bring whatever you bring to relationships, right? You are worthy, like we talked about before, of being love and having love. You are someone who, can be in partnership and can bring out the best in yourself and other people. And these are the things, whatever these things are for you individually, I'm just throwing things out, but like these are the things that you need to ground into, right? That are part of your power in this aspect of you and part of what you need to focus on this month. Okay. If you're in space with people who are making you question that, like I said before, um, then you need to get out of relationship with those people and whatever kind of relationship it's in, right? If you're in a space where, like I said before, you're comparing yourself to what you see online or what you believe somebody's life to be or something like that, like that's something that we need to focus on because that's part of why you're feeling these insecurities or you're projecting um, these unreal images onto what you think that your life should be. Okay. And they're speaking to that this month because that's definitely something that's happening for people. And it's something that's hindering you. It was hindering you in your career and finances just as much as it's hindering some people in their love and relationships. Okay, so part of what we need to focus on is what these things are and getting to, like pinpoint them. And the other part of it would be changing your mindset around it. Okay. So, for example, if you are someone who looks at something that somebody else has or a relationship that they're in, and um, you say to yourself, when am I going to have that? Or I don't think that I'll have that, or this doesn't exist for me, right? Um, Instead of that, you want to kind of shift your mindset to, if I'm seeing this, then I know it exists, or I'm getting closer to this, or I know this is going to happen for me too, or I'm going to have this thing that I imagine that I see, but I'm going to have it for real, and it's going to look like XYZ. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a difference in the energy. There's a attraction, excuse me, to the latter statements. You know what I mean? There's a energetic way in which you're infusing yourself into that energy as opposed to pushing it away from you, like we were talking about the law of attraction and repulsion with the career and finance. So there's definitely this aspect of what we're supposed to focus on this month, and they're like the questions that we ask, there are ways in which we can reframe the thoughts that we have around the love and relationships that we actually are trying to attain. So that brings us to our bottom two cards. We have the grounded and the earth card, and these cards are so similar. So, part of what I feel like we're focusing on in July is being present in every way. So, similar to what I was saying in terms of us um, like fantasizing about what somebody else has, or like not being present within what we have. The grounded cards are kind of shifting the energy back. If you are somebody who's been like longing, or feeling despondent about what you can't have, then we're shifting the energy back to what's in front of us, right? And we're shifting the energy back to planting yourself into the present and being very present in your energy, being very present in what's in front of you and what's happening and what you have, putting your feet on solid ground and kind of like moving from your most solid and stable points. Like there's a Neptunian energy in the idea of like longing or thinking about what someone else has, or the wanting of that. But the grounding grounded card, excuse me, and the earth card is literally earth energy, right? It's here, it's present, it's the right now. And so there's a way in which we really need to shift from that Neptunian energy into this earth energy and focus on, like I said, what's in front of you. Okay. There's also the power in that, because you have the power card on top of these cards, and a power to being present in being able to be connected not only to the earth and what's actually happening around you so that you can have a clear view of it, but to be able to connect with yourself and your body, and have your body tell you and acknowledge whatever you're feeling and what's going on with you. And for some people, where some of those things are coming from that we were talking about before, for some people, it could be your body expressing to you the things we were talking about before in terms of the jealousy, um, and with other people, or people being negative or having a more um, negative energy, that you'll be able to like feel into that and know that with your intuition, with your clairs, using your body, and your gut, being in tune with that, that you'll be able to understand where you are and what you want and love more from a very present place. So there's a lot that comes up with the grounded and earth cards to me around, like I said, being very present, being very stable, being very aware of where you are now, moving from the space of where you are now and what you can see and what's in front of you now, especially because we have some things that are coming up for people. So you're able to move from like a very clear place or a place of new understanding or things like that, you know? And the grounded and earth cards also bring more stability to me, to this area of our lives, our love and relationships, and whatever ways that is coming up. That could be the ways in which, like I said, things that we receive information on. It could be ways that we're being asked to pay more attention to with the questions that we're asking ourselves, or just ways in which we see that are coming up once we're able to, like I said, be more in this space. So these are the things that we need to focus on with our love and relationships. We are going to end our mini focus reading with our spirituality and self growth. So, moving into our spirituality and self growth mini focus for the month, the cards that we have come from the power of the surrender cards. We have surrender fear. Let go of fearful stories you're telling yourself. Stay in the moment. Focus on solutions and celebrate every baby step forward. Surrender to passion. Get out of your head and feel the fire in your belly. Focus on the people or activities that ignite your passion and let it flow. Surrender your fear of change. The universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if you're fearing aging or death, repeat this affirmation: I have faith that all is well. Surrender low self esteem. You deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self esteem. Surrender to your full power. Your life is calling for you to take a step into your full power rather than playing it small. Surrender to prayer. Give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard throughout the universe, and answers and support will arrive. So, there's a big emphasis on our fears this month. And one of the things that we're focused on in terms of our self growth and spirituality is how we work on escaping or exercising our fearful thoughts and the stories and habits that come out of our fears. This is kind of a theme that has carried over for the past few months, for the past few readings that we've done for the past few months. And I feel like because we have so many of them, it's kind of come to a precipice for a lot of people. We're kind of really at a point where it's like now or never in people's minds in a sense. And so I feel like that's why we have a number of cards that speak to fear itself. We have the cards that speak to our low self-esteem and sitting in our power, because it's like it's time. You're ready, it's time. And like I said before, this fear is really keeping you stuck, especially in terms of your growth, your self growth, your expansion, like we talked about before. For some people, it's replaying fears. You know what I mean? Like having your fears consume your thoughts, consume your mind. For other people, it's being so consumed or like having the habit of being fearful, so much so that even when you don't have current fears, you'll find something to be, scared of or worried about. It's like you're creating fears or like picking up new fears. You're finding reasons to see why something won't work, or you're finding reasons to talk yourself out of things and again keep you stunted. And all of this is um really waning on you. It's really um something that you're recognizing, even if it's unconsciously, because you want more growth, you want expansion. That's something we've talked about throughout this whole episode. That's something we talked about in part one. And so the recognition of this is something we really are focused on this month and something we're trying to work through. And like I said, exercise. If you succeed in some cases for people, part of that is what the fear is, because like I said before, even though you feel like you want these things, there's something unconscious that says that you don't deserve it. And so there are ways in which some people are, mentally self-sabotaging so that you don't get these things. There are also people who are kind of nurturing the terrible thoughts that other people have, like, so for example, if somebody else around you has a fear about something you want to do, or a fear about you going to this place, or um it then starts to play in your mind or replay in your head, and then you don't know exactly what you want to do because you're feeding into what other people think about you, or what the social norms of something says that you're supposed to do. And so, like, all of this are different ways that we are allowing fear to hold us and contain us, And like I said, it's really so ingrained in us now, but there is this unconscious part of us, or there, for some people, is this very conscious part of us, or there's this little voice, or, there is these signs that are telling us that, you know, this is not it. This shit is not helping. This is not the way. This is making you sick, or it's making you sick of yourself, in a sense, and that we have to move from this space. So that is what a lot of these cards are speaking to. With all that said, we also have these other cards that kind of tell us how we can try to move out of this space, right? And so part of it is getting out of your head and into your feels, right? We have the surrender to passions card. We have the surrender to your full power. We have surrender to prayer, which is outside of yourself, right? So we're surrendering into the things that make you feel good, and we're surrendering to the forces outside of ourselves that can help us do things that we're not able to do, that we're not ready to do, that we're not capable of doing right now, right? They can help us add in tools, they can help make shit move that we can't. And so that is part of the way that we first start to kind of move past or move through the things that have been really keeping us stuck in terms of our fear, right? Um, Find things that you like to pursue, find things that make you feel good, that feel like play, that um, don't make you think about anything else while you're doing them. In terms of surrendering to your full power, we want to really sit with ourselves, take off those glasses, see what we can see in ourselves that we can really like and respect, things that we grown to be, and the things that you don't have them be at the top of the list or have them be top of mind. You know what I mean? Like, try to reframe your brain in that sense of how you look at yourself, right? Recognize that you have opportunities. And if you start to see things as opportunities as opposed to um, coulda, shoulda, beens, then also that also helps to build back into your self-esteem, what you think can happen. Um, if you start to recognize, in some cases, why you are scared of success, or what exactly it is you're scared of when it comes to change, and we can really sit with that and talk that out, and then build into what the opportunities are in those situations, then again, it's surrendering to the power, right? And surrendering to your full power then adds in a situation what you can then bring to those situations and those new opportunities. So these are some of the ways that we can kind of try to move through the things that we need to focus on in terms of our self growth and spirituality. Adding in some of these tools um, are ways in which we can, build ourselves up in the best ways. And we want to just remind ourselves, like, who we are, you know what I mean? Like, who you really are to the core of you, not the way that the world or life has made you think that you are, in a sense. Really, we have to uncover and move past all this bullshit that's been put on us to really see ourselves the way that we need to be able to see ourselves. And in some cases, sometimes it's more helpful if you have somebody else that can tell you how they see you, because sometimes it's not um, something we're able to see. And so if you're able to go to somebody who can really see you and tell you everything that they see, there's ways in which you can start to own that yourself, you know? So that's something else that you can also do. And then, like I said, we have the surrender to prayer. And so it's finding ways to remind yourself that the forces are working for you, to remind yourself that you can ask for help and that you don't have to do everything or fix everything or work on everything, right? And because we're also talking about our spirituality, this has to do with spiritual communication and fostering that communication and having, you know, an earnest request or petition, because that's what a prayer is, regardless of whatever your religion is. A prayer is asking earnestly for a higher power to do XYZ, you know, without any fear, without any doubts, without any, you know, BS, but like really from your heart, from your soul. And if you're sitting in fear and anxieties and asking for things, and it's really not as earnest as it is, um, it's designed to be, you know? So really sit with yourself and um, nurture nurture the power that's within you. Want to move past the fear this month and do what you can to call on the universe and recognize that the universe is already doing everything that it can to help align things for your best interests. And if we're moving from fear based to opportunity based, or to like more positive thinking, in a sense, I can think of a better word, I was trying, but then we'll be able to recognize that more. Okay, so that's what we have in our self growth and spirituality. Let's move into our fairy tales for the month. Okay, so moving into our fairy tale for the month. The fairy tale that I chose for this month is related to the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is one of the cards that we got in the energy for the month and part one of our collective reading. And all of the cards that we get for the energy of the month every month come from the Tarot of the Divine. And every card in that deck has a companion story. And all of those stories are put into a book called Beneath the Moon. So that is where I'll be reading our story from today, which is The Boy and the Dragon Pearl. It's a Chinese legend. Dragons in China are very powerful. They are symbols of strength, mystery, and good fortune. They can make themselves as small as a silkworm or as large as a universe. They can live in heaven or deep in the ocean and control typhoons, tidal waves, floods, and rain. They can travel far distances, and some have even been known to favor men in the mountain retreats. They are often known to carry a pearl that contains much of their magical power. Dragons are so magnificent, there is even an expression in Chinese that means to hope one's son will become a dragon. There once was a little boy who lived in a small village that was starving from years of drought. Nothing would grow, and even the wild animals were suffering. When the little boy saw a fat rabbit, he followed it home. There he found a small patch of greenery that was flourishing, which, when he dug it up, was growing around a giant pearl. Thinking he could sell the pearl for food, the little boy and his mother put it in a rice jar that night and slept peacefully. In the morning, they found the once empty rice jar overflowing. The same miracle repeated itself again with the rice jar, an oil jar, and then with a box of money. The boy and his mother realized that the pearl was magical and were able to stop worrying about food. But their newfound luck was noticed by greedy men who smashed the boy's house in order to find whatever they had. The little boy grew terrified, and in his fear, he swallowed the pearl whole. He began to feel unbelievably thirsty. He drank a whole jug of water, then a whole well, then he plunged himself deep into the river. He emerged as a giant dragon, swishing his tail back and forth, and frightened the men away. The boy turned dragon looked at his mother, and she at him, and they knew that he could never be changed back. So instead, he became the protector of the river, and his mother visited him often. And that is the story of the boy and the dragon pearl. So, in terms of the research, I didn't find a lot. I found that it was an ancient Chinese myth. It was turned into a movie. But other than that, I couldn't really find a lot of research. What I did find was that the dragon and the pearl symbolism is very prominent throughout Chinese mythology, and that the dragon itself is a revered animal. The dragon is seen as a king in certain instances, rules the elements. It can rule bodies of water. Dragons can also have, magical ruling. They do have the relation to the pearl outside of this myth as well. Just in general, the dragon and the pearl is usually symbolized together, and the pearl itself is usually depicted as a flaming sphere, and it's associated with spiritual energy, wisdom, prosperity, and immortality. And in terms of the boy with the dragon pearl, the folktale is usually used to teach children about the dangers of being greedy and to share. In a longer version of the story that I read, the boy actually shares the rice that they collect with the rest of the village because, like it said in the story version that we had, the village itself was in despair and didn't have food. So he shares with his mother, and then they share with everybody else. And then the king, who initially was the reason why they were all poor and hungry to begin with, comes and tries to take from the little boy. So in our story, it was greedy men. In a different version of the story that I read, it was actually the king who then tried to take from the little boy. For me, the reason that I picked this story, and I could have picked any of the stories that we had for the cards because they were all very similar. And the reason that I picked this one was because I felt like it hadn't been told. I hadn't heard it before receiving this book. So I figured it would be a good story to tell. But also, it gives the idea that even when shit is dire, right? If you stay in belief, if you stay in faith, if you persevere and still try to work on whatever you're doing or still try to make things happen, that, transformation and good can come out of it. Because not only did he help his mother and help his community get the material that they needed, but he literally transformed into a bigger, wiser version of himself. And that is very much what I feel like a lot of this month is doing for many of us, right? It's prepping us for this bigger, larger versions of life that we want, but that we wouldn't be able to really fully sit in unless we are able to grow to a wiser place, to a more stable place, And so that was part of the reason why I picked this story. In the Six of Swans, we had a similar story, which the Six of Swans is related to the Eight of Coins, where the girl in the story basically is raised by her father. Her father gets married. Um, Her father's wife puts a spell on her brothers, turns them into swans. She basically has to work and do this magical working to get them back into their human form. In the midst of that, she meets a man. She explains to him what's happening. And long story short, she winds up being able to marry this man, get her brothers back into human form, and live happily ever after. Right. So, again, it was a situation where things were fucked up. She did what she had to do to work to try to make things better. In the midst of doing that and in the toiling of doing that, because she's like, you can see it in the picture of the card if you look at the link for the cards we have for the energy of the month. She's toiling away. She's using nettles. Her feet are bleeding. Her hands are bleeding. She's crying, but she's still working because she's knows what she's working towards, right? And in the end, she is able to get everything that she wants and more. And we had the Jack and the Beanstalk card that was related to the Ace of Coins card, excuse me, the Jack and the Beanstalk story that's related to the Ace of Coins card, which is very much the same thing. Jack and his mother were poor, they get the beans, they don't turn out to be the crops they want, but they're a beanstalk. He gets up the beanstalk, he steals things. Um, the what is it, an ogre? The ogre tries to get him. He cuts down the beanstalk. Him and his mother become rich, right? So again, it's like this idea of shit being fucked up, being in dire circumstances, having something happen because you keep persisting and trying to make things better, and then having it at the end be better than you expected it to be. So that was why I picked the first story. But like I said, that was why I could have picked any of the stories that we had. And I feel like we got a lot of the cards that we got that are related to these stories for the same reason, because there's a way in which we are being asked to persevere or to move through, or to move through the things that we need to heal to become wiser, bigger, better versions of ourselves for, like I said, the life that we really want to live, that we can have, that's able to be attained. But we have to move to a different space to be able to appreciate it, to be able to move through it in the best ways, you know? So that is why we have stories that we have for this month. um, I, like I said, I wish I had found a little bit more on the research, but you know, it is what it is. Let's wrap our reading up with our working for the month. So the best working that we have for this month comes from the Earth Magic book, Your Complete Guide to Natural Spells, Potions, Plants, Herbs, Witchcraft, and More by Marie D. Jones. I just picked a book off of my shelf, did some bibliomancy, and opened up to a page that is all about candles. And more specifically, this page is speaking about the colors of candles. So if you are someone who is a practitioner, like I said before in the beginning, this part of the reading, we talk about what could be the best working for the month, what the energies are calling for. In this case, we don't have a specific working. We have more so, well, we do have a specific working in the sense of working with candles, but it's not giving you, a theme or like an idea of what to do for the working. It's more so doing candle work, working with candles, working with fire energy, working with air energy, and then utilizing the specific color, to enhance or to represent the frequency that you're trying to bring in, get rid of, whatever kind of work you're doing. So I'm going to read a little bit from the book, and then we'll talk a little bit after. Many practitioners buy or make candles according to the specific spell they wish to cast. Some witches suggest beeswax candles because of their close connection to nature. You might want to do some type of blessing or consecration of the candle before you begin. I want to just add in for me, this is not from the book. You definitely want to at least cleanse the candle before you work with it so that you can just get off the energies of, wherever you got it from if you don't make it yourself. The color of the candle is probably the most important quality. Each color represents a different vibrational frequency and can amplify the outcome of the spell. Now I'm going to go over the different colors and what they say they're for. Again, this is subject to your practice and your beliefs and your feelings. So, take it with a grain of salt, take it to your team, sit with it. If there are things that you use for, you know, use different colors with or something like that, of course it is very personal to the individual, but also take the suggestions if you feel like they resonate. White, I'm going to put this in air quotes, this is not in the book, this is just me. Purity, air quotes, okay. Healing, lightness, relaxation, freedom, truth, higher self, peace. And I'm just putting in air quotes because, light is seen as better and dark is seen as negative in some senses. I don't prescribe to that. So that's why I'm putting in air quotes. Silver, joy, intuition, reflection, moon phase, the goddess, astral travel, intuition, dream work, telepathy. Red, love, affection, passion, ambition, power, control. Lust, fire, sex, strength, career goals, driving force. Pink, love, romance, attraction, friendship, goodwill, caring. Gold, financial increase, business success, power, influence, mastery over others, God, winning, male energy, and quote, happiness. Copper, business, career, passion, money goals, professional issues. Blue, peace, calm, understanding, unity, fluidity, water, wisdom, protection, inspiration. I will add in healing. Purple, power, ambition, regality, mastery, command, courage, the third eye, psychic abilities, knowledge. And I think it's interesting they added in the third eye there, but they didn't add in any other chakras anywhere else, because you could have added in the root in the red and the throat in the blue, but I digress. Yellow, the sun, happiness, air, memory, joy, learning, expansion, intelligence. I'll also add the solar plexus. Orange, vibrancy, fun, openness, overall success, property, legal matters, justice. One of my favorite practitioners, Bossy Bruja, also says she likes to use orange for money work. Green, prosperity, luck, nature, fertility, physical healing, money, Mother Earth, personal goals. Brown, earth, tradition, groundedness, common sense, friendship, favors. I will also add in like family work. Black. Here we go with the quotes again. Dark, evil, harm, repulsion. So we're just going to start with the dark, evil, harm. Granted, yes, right? And also, there are people that see black candles and white candles as neutral. And neutral in the sense that you could put whatever you want on them because they're neutral, right? So you could use them for any kind of work that you wanted to do. It'd be like having a blank piece of paper. So I will say that again, I put heavy air quotes on the first couple things, but the repulsion, the banishment magic, binding, protection, other things that they say that you can do with black candles. Okay. Now, they also give another disclaimer of sorts as far as the black candles are concerned. While black candles are often associated with dark or black magic practices, they have a powerful place in positive casting too. Black candles represent the death of necessary end to something negative, such as old behaviors, habits, relationships, and patterns, and are used to ritually burn away energies and influences no longer desired. Black represents the opposite of light, so a spell invoking the banishment of any kind of darkness or a return to light could involve burning a black candle. Black also represents night and can amplify moon magic when burned during specific moon phases. You can also burn more than one candle if you need help in more than one area. So, like I said, for me, it's very individual to your practice, to what you feel. Okay, play with the colors. If you are somebody who already does candle work, definitely please let us know in the comments what colors you like to use for certain things. From there, if you're not into candle work, if you're a novice, you can start with just the colors and work from there. Um, Moving from there, you could move into shapes and sizes and things like that. But it didn't really get into that in the pages that I got for the bibliomancy. So I think it's really more specifically about the colors, right? What you're trying to bring in, what you're trying to remove, and being very intentional about the the energy that you're utilizing. You can also, dress your candles. You can um, put it on a specific altar. You can add, um, certain things to it to dress it, herbs and crystals and, um, different things like that. However you choose to do your magic petitions, right on your candles, however you choose to do it. But I think that really what's important this month is working with the fire energy, working with that spark, working with that passion, working with the idea of um, making things either, burn out or giving them the energy that they need to come to fruition. And like I said, utilizing the colors to enhance whatever energy that is, because there were cards that we got this month that talked about our need to kind of utilize the spirits and the forces outside of ourselves. And so this is one of the ways where we are actually asking for help and doing what we need to do, and also allowing the universe to help us get what we need, like similar to what we talked about in our stories and what we talked about in our cards in earlier in this episode and in the first part of our collective reading. So that is what we have for the working for this month. Let me know what kind of work you do. I've already actually been doing some candle work this month. So I thought it was funny when I got this because I've been doing some things towards the end of June. So made a lot of sense to me. But definitely share if you do work like this, if you're going to do work like this, if you wind up doing it and you feel comfortable sharing. We would love that. So, like I said, this is the working we got for the month. And this was our read in, y'all. So thank you so much for being here. Please let me know how July is for you. Check out part one if you haven't already. I know this is a lot of energy this month, and this episode was a lot of information, but come back to it, listen to it in parts, however you choose, but just make sure you listen, get the information, move on the things that we need to move on, especially the things that really, really hit deep for you this month. And like I said, if you'd like your own personal reading, you can book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. My 75-minute live is 40% off. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already so you can get the weekly readings. And yeah, I appreciate y'all so much. I will see you next month.